Hello, welcome to today's training. Remember, we discussed that today's training will focus more on volume or lot size. So we'll quickly go into business of the day. But let me recap what we discussed previously. We discussed about using more than one trading indicator to make up your trading analysis. For example, using stochastic and the candlestick. We also discussed about using support and resistance system with stochastic too, or using support and resistance and the candlestick. I believe we must have practiced it and been able to come up with the one that suits us most. If trading with stochastic and candlestick is the one we prefer, is based on what? Individual preferences. So it must not be the one you're using that your neighbor will use. We have many of trading systems we can use. And as time goes on, we'll continue to treat more. We'll still have to treat Bollinger Band. We still have to treat parabolic SAR. We still have to treat MACD, and so on and so forth. So these are the indicators available for us to use. So if you want to check how many default indicators that your platform came with, you can always go here, indicator list here, so you can see them. You understand? So custom indicators are also some of the indicators a friend gave you, or you bought online, or you programmed by yourself. So it's custom actually means customized. So now, today we agreed to treat volume or lot size. Volume is a very important topic that I encourage every trader to make out time and learn, because it actually controls your risk and it also controls your profit. If you have a good understanding of how to use your volume, honestly, you will stay long in the market. Even if you did not make profits, I assure you that you will not lose your capital. So today we'll be focusing on how to know how to use this volume to our own advantage. This is the volume or lot size. We have the micro. Micro starts from 0.01 to 0.09. So where is this volume in our platform? This is it. Can we see new order here? When we open new order, we'll see volume. When you click here, this small drop down arrow, you can see more volumes that we have. Should you want to make any use of a particular volume that you can't find here, please clean it. Can you see? I've cleaned it and I'm putting my choice. If 0.1 is what I want to use, but you can see that there is no 0.1 here. Can you see that? There's no 0.1 here. So I have to do what? I have to clean the one I made there and put the one I want to use, 0.1. Can you see? So before I'll continue to do what? To place my trade. So this is what? This is volume. For those of us that will be using our phone, when you want to place new order, you also see what? Your volume. Are we following? So now back to the volume types that we have. We have micro. Micro starts from 0.01 to 0.09. 1 pip, that is a pip of 0.01, actually represents 10 cents. That means 10 pips of 0.01 will give us what? $1, $1. So it's like, since 1 pip of 0.01 is equal to 10 cents, so 10 pips of 0.01 will give us $1. That means 10 cents into 10 places, giving us what? $1. We must also remember that we also have 0.02. We also have 0.03, 0.05, 0.07. They still belong to micro. So assuming 10 pips of assuming we have 0.02 here, then 10 pips of 0.02 will give us what? $2. Hope we understand. 10 pips of 0.02, if 0.02 happens to be our volume here, will now give us what? $2 here. Since 10 pips of 0.01 gave us $1. This is the formula which we also do what? Needs to follow. Now, that is by the way about micro. We have mini. 0.1 to 0.9. That is mini volume. So we also have 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, 0.8 in what? In mini volume. So a pip, 1 pip of 0.1 will give you what? $1. That means 1 pip movement will give you what? $1. So therefore, 10 pips movement of 0.1 will give us what? $10. 10 pips of what? Of 0.1 will give us what? $10. Then we have what? Standard. Standard is to start from what? 1 to infinity. As we all know, there is no end to number. So that is why we said it starts from what? 1 to infinity. So 1 pip of 1 standard lot, a pip of 1 standard lot will give us what? $10. So when we have 10 pips of 1 standard lot, it gives us what? $100. Are we following? Now, you can now see that this one actually made 10 pips. This one also made 10 pips. This one made 10 pips. But the monetary value are not the same.
Yes.
Because of what? They are different
sizes
in volume. There are different volume sizes that they used. Are we following? So now let's continue. Example is this. Your volume, if for those of us that have been following this class, I will encourage us to remember when we treated stop loss and take profits. You can still revisit that lesson. Stop loss and take profits. You need to master it. So you can now see your volume, multiply it with what? With your stop loss. That is the number of pips of your stop loss. That is what I mean by multiplying it with your stop loss. Number of pips of your stop loss. Then you will get what? Your real money, the real value of your what? Of what you're doing. Also, your volume, multiply it with what? Your take profit. Number of pip you're using for take profits. You also get what? What you gain should the trade go in your favor and hit your take profit. So also in this case, volume times stop loss, you will be able to know your risk should the trade hit your stop loss. This is a perfect example. So this is a mini volume 0.1, and this is what? 30 pips. These 30 pips can be stop loss, these 30 pips can be take profits. But what we are meant to understand here is if this trade moves we are likely, we are risking, not likely, we are risking $30, or we also gaining what? $30. Are we following? So 0.1 times 30 pips. Remember, 0.1 is a mini. When we say that 0.1, a pip is equals to $1, where 10 pips is equals to $10. In this case, the number of pips happens to be what? 30 pips. So therefore, 0.1, which represents a pip movement of $1, into 30 pips automatically gives us what? $30. So if 30 pips happens to be our stop loss, that means our risk is what? $30. That is what we will lose if our stop loss is triggered. Then if this 30 pips is our take profit, that means we will be making profit of $30. I want us to digest this thing. So, for example, if your account is $100 account and you want to use 0.1 and your stop loss is 30 pips, and you now know that should the trade go against you and hit your stop loss, and you will be losing $30, meaning you'll be having balance of $70. If you are satisfied with it, no problem. But if you are not satisfied to lose $30 out of your $100 account, that means you need to do what? Reduce your volume. Or you reduce your what? Number of your stop loss. So if you reduce your stop loss to like 10 pips, that means you'll be losing what? Or gaining $10. But if you choose to retain 30 pips as your stop loss and want to reduce your volume, if you decide to use 0.01 here now, which is a micro volume, 0.01 times 30 pips will give us $3
instead of 30.
Instead of 30. If we are using 0.01, it will give us what? $3 instead of 30.
Yes.
So that is also what is applicable to other volume. Should we use 0.05, which is half of this, 0.05, we'll be having what? $15 with the same 30 pips take profit or stop loss here with this same 30 pips. So 0.05 times 30 pips will give us $15. So when you have this in mind, placing trade will not be difficult for you. Analyzing your risk will not be difficult for you. Any trade you place with the knowledge of this volume or lot size is something you are aware of. You won't say that you are not aware of what happened to your account. And you won't also say that it wasn't deliberate. But I will encourage you to see it as what? As one of the risks you took, because you are aware. When you're choosing that volume, you know what its implication will be. Using a good volume is not bad. I don't tell my clients or my students which volume they will use, because our risk appetite varies. What I encourage each and every one of us to know is to understand this. Once we are aware of this, we are free to make our choices and take the risk according to our risk appetite. Some people used to ask me with $100 accounts, what should be my volume? What should be my lot size? I don't really like to answer that question. What I will do is to teach you this, teaching you micro and its way of calculating it, teaching you meaning, volume, and how it's to be calculated, and teaching you standard and how it is calculated, and then giving you this example. I will now leave you to make your choice. So if you want to use a volume, for example now, if you have $100 account and you went ahead to choose one standard lot, remember that one standard lot, just 10 pips movement will give you $100. And you're using one standard lot on a $100 account, and you place the trade. If the trade goes against you by 10 pips only, remember your account is gone. So if you're willing to take that kind of risk, and also know that if that trade goes in your favor, you also make $100 too. So if you're ready to take that risk, there is no problem. What I actually want to emphasize is you know what you are doing. You took the risk by yourself. So that is what I'm trying to explain to us here. When we get to new order and we want to place our trade, let's also check the volume we have here, and then be sure that we are ready to pull the trigger. When I talk about pulling the trigger, means to place the trade, either buy or sell. Are we following? So that is it. I don't expect this thing to be confusing for us with the way I've explained it now, but let me just recap it once more. I said this is either you call it volume or you call it lot size. And the first one we have here is micro. Micro starts from 0.01 to 0.09. 1 pip of 0.01 gives us what? 10 cents. 10 pips of 0.01 gives us $1. So, and I say that we still have 0.02, 0.05, 0.08 in the same micro. Then we also have mini. Mini starts from 0.1 to 0.9. A pip of 0.1, 1 pip of 0.1 gives us $1. 10 pips of 0.1 gives us $10. So that means if we have 20 pips here, 20 pips will give us what? $20. That is it here. Now we move to standard. Standard starts from 1 to infinity. 1 pip of one standard lot will give us what? $10. 10 pips of one standard lot will give us $100. What do we mean by pips? Remember that pips is what? Movement of what? Of market price. So if market moves just a single move, we say is what? Is 1 pip. If it moves two movement, if it makes 2 moves, we say it as what? Move 2 pips. If it makes 3 moves, we say it has made what? 3 pips. If it makes 5 moves, we say it has made what? 5 pips. So pips is actually our unit measurement of change in price. Are we following? So, and I said that trying to explain the volume and how it affects us is when you choose your volume multiply it with what? Your volume multiply it with what? Your volume multiply it with your stop loss. And what I mean by stop loss here is number of pips of your stop loss. You know, when you want to choose your stop loss, we are told that what is our choice number of pips. Do you understand? I still want us to go and visit that our lesson where we treated stop loss and take profits. So your volume then multiply by what? By your stop loss, you will get the real value. Then you also have, in this case, your volume multiplied by what? Take profit. You get what? Real value. Example is this. 0.1 times 30 pips gives us what? $30. So when you were using 0.1 here and you're using 30 pips as either your take profit or stop loss, have it in mind that your real value will be $30. If this pips happens to be take profit, have it in mind that your risk is $30. That is what you will lose because of the volume you use, 0.1. One movement of pip of market is what? Is $1, which is into 30 movements is what? $30. If this thing happens to be take profit, this 30 pips happens to be your take profit, it also means you'll be making profit of what? Of $30. Are we following? So make sure you understand this and master it very well. It will help you. Like I said before, even if you did not make profit in Forex, you won't do what? You won't lose your account with this knowledge. So if you happen to lose your account, that means you are aware of it. It's a deliberate act. It's a risk that you just took, not that you don't know. Are we following? Not that you don't know. Then when you're placing your trade, maybe you place 3 trades with 0.01 into 3 places. Don't say you are still using 0.01. Calculate that your 0.01 and you sum it up to being 0.03. So these things should be what? We should be conscious of it. So how many trades you place, calculate all the volume in those trades, and now you get how many volume you're using at that particular time. Don't place 10 trades with 0.01, and then somebody will ask you what is the volume you're using. You tell the person is 0.01. No, as of that time you have 10 trades running. It's no longer 0.01, because if you calculate 0.01 into 10 places, it will give you 0.1, which is a mini volume. Are we following? So that is it. These things are what? Are the things we need to learn and understand. All right. I'm opening the class for question. If you have any question, please kindly ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
The other time you started with indicators.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other thing we use indicators for apart from confirmation?
Indicator is also a guide.
Huh?
Indicator is also a guide. Do you understand? Indicator is also a guide. Are we following? Indicator is also what? Is also a guide.
Okay. Yeah, you are right. You are right. I don't understand.
So that is really why we use indicators, just to guide us. Are we following?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other question?
Sir, excuse sir.
I'm listening, sir. Good day, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to ask, maybe you may share more lights on margin, free margin, and margin level.
Okay. Margin is actually a kind of like a collateral, a minimum amount you must have to maintain your open position.
The minimum balance.
A minimum amount you must have. A minimum amount you must have in your equity.
Okay.
Minimum amount you must have. For example, you might have something like $500, but the trade you are about to place according to the lot size. You understand? Somebody that is using 0.01 mini volume and somebody that is not and is using standard will not have the same margin. The one of one standard will always be higher than the person using micro or mini. Are we following? So it's actually a minimum amount needed by your broker to maintain your open position. Like I said, you might have $500, but the margin for that trade you want to place might be $10 or $3, as the case may be, like I said, depending on your volume or your lot size. So when you now have that margin of, when the margin is being, when you now see the margin, you see that your margin is $3 or $10, as the case may be. You know you still have like 400 and something. Do you understand? Remember, your account is $500 account, and the margin is just $2. Do you understand? Okay. So you now, the free margin now becomes that 400 and something that you have.
Okay.
After the margin has been taken, because you'll be seeing, you'll now see your free margin. If that your free margin is now left for you, should I still place more trade?
Okay.
Are we following? So that is it.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Free margin. What else? Margin level. Margin level is actually the in percentage of your free margin.
Okay.
That's your free margin converted in percentage to your margin. Yes. All right.
All right, thank you.
You're very much welcome, sir.
Sorry, please.
Listening, sir.
The margin percentage.
Yes.
Percentage of which? Is it the percentage of the residual capital or the percentage of the existing margin?
The percentage of your residual capital to the margin.
Okay, all right. Okay.
That is why you sometimes you see something like a 6 or 4,000%. You can imagine where you have $500 account.
Yes.
And $2 is your margin.
Okay.
So that's your residual capital pre-margin to the margins required. So that is why the pre-margin level is always higher. You see, like, what is it? You may not understand.
So 2 on 500 will be about 1,000%.
Thank you. That is what I'm saying.
Right. There are times when you advise us to close some business, some trade, especially when during blowouts, when the account is about to be blown.
That is margin call. That is margin call.
So you now advise that we close some positions.
Yes, when you have a margin call, you close your position because you don't. Your margin is being threatened.
Okay, so
and what makes it to be because you don't have free margin. That is why.
Okay, in that situation, what do you advise? Do we close the trade with the biggest volume, or we close the one with the smallest volume, both in terms of lot size and value of money?
Okay, thank you very much. One of the first questions I always ask is, what made you to enter that trade? Is the signal that made you to enter that trade still available? Is it still valid? Do you understand? The signal that led you into that trade, is it still valid?
Okay.
If the signal is no longer valid, that means it should be closed. You understand? But if the signal is valid,
okay.
If the signal that made you to enter the trade is still valid,
okay,
then you check also your risk. The loss you're seeing, are you still comfortable with it?
Okay.
Do you understand? So yes. If you're still comfortable with it and you can risk more, you can now add more funds to increase your equity and your free margin.
All right.
All right. All right. So we'll
sorry.
Okay, I'm listening.
Sorry, if I may ask, do you have a fan near you there?
Sir?
It's like the breathing of the fan is affecting the audio.
Okay, it's not really me. It might be another participant. No, I don't have any fan around me. Any other question? Do we still have any other question? Okay, in absence of that, we will bring the class to a close, and let's try and make it again, same time by Thursday. Yes, that is next
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you very much. All
God
right.
bless you. Have a pleasant night.
You too, sir.
Bye.